So the IEC's decision to reopen nominations for candidates and the submission of party lists has been challenged by the DA, with the Constitutional Court expected to rule on that matter sometime this morning. But the IEC nonetheless will forge ahead with the timetable, which includes a date for the reopening of special votes. IEC Deputy Chief Electoral Officer Mawethu Mosery joins us now via our video link for a sense of what next. And Mawethu, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks very much indeed for making time to chat to us. Registrations online closing at midnight tonight. What happens after that?
Good morning, Ian, and good morning to your viewers. Indeed, we do expect Minister of Culture to proclaim the election date today. And soon after that, we will gazette the timetable for the elections of 1st November. And after proclamation, as our legal scheme prescribes, the voters' roll that exists on the day of proclamation is the voters' roll valid for the election. So whoever is on the roll by midnight tonight will be eligible to vote on election day. So for that, voters must still continue to go on our register to vote online, but also those who can visit our local municipal offices can still do so during working hours of today. The road ahead is obviously inspection of the voters' roll, the finalization of candidate nomination, which should close tomorrow at 5 p.m., and then thereafter, if there are any objections to the voters' roll, we will deal with those in the coming few days. After that, we are obviously going into special votes, and the applications for special votes will open today as we gazette the timetable, and the special votes will run until the 10th of October. We will close the applications, and then we'll administer them on the 30th and 31st of October.
Yeah, I wonder what your take of how this past voter registration weekend actually went is. And I'm asking this in the context of, I'm sure you're aware, the sporadic protests that took place in various parts of the country, but also on the back of a point made by specifically the EFF, who we spoke to earlier on today. What they have pointed out is that outside of, in some instances, just the manual record that someone has come to register at a certain voter registration process, some South Africans have nothing to show for the fact that they've participated in that process. In other words, in the past, something like a sticker, for instance, would be placed on your ID. That didn't happen in some instances. So what happens in a context where that manual record is lost for whatever reason, and people need to prove that they have registered?
In terms of our new environment and the changes that we have in the country's identity document, necessitated that the sticker proof of application to register is no longer an appropriate proof of registration. So when we worked on new technology, it will give you an SMS confirming your registration immediately, either with the machine at the voting station or on our online system, which every voter must retain as proof of registration and to be on the voters' roll. In the instances where there was such a manual register, those individuals should by midnight yesterday have received an SMS confirming their registration. If it has not occurred that you received that SMS, we do ask you and plead with you to go register on our online portal today, so that you are double sure that you are on the voters' roll and you've not been missed. We are no longer issuing those stickers because the current smart card ID has no place for such a sticker.
I got you. You and I both know, Bob Mosery, that it's not possible for everyone to have access to a device that will enable them to go through the process of registering online. And so, again, I ask, what happens for South Africans who haven't received an SMS by yesterday or by midnight yesterday, if you know what I mean, and were registering at a station where only the manual process was actually being implemented?
In fact, in terms of the reports that we received, is that where there was such an exercise, they are far and few apart. In fact, we couldn't get a concrete figure, but it was less than 200 voting stations throughout the country. And in those instances, the work began yesterday as we closed to capture all of those. So we do not expect that we would have missed any of those who would have been handwritten at the voting station. But obviously, we still have time during the inspection of the roll to go back and actually audit all of that work that was done, not the directed way or in terms of the framework. We have a mop-up process that will ensure that we do not miss anyone who came to the voting stations.
Point taken, but two things. One, 200-odd stations being impacted this way is no small number. I think we can agree on that. But two, my question is still...
Certainly.
Yeah, my question is still largely unanswered with respect. I'm trying to get to the understanding of what happens when someone hasn't received an SMS, but they registered manually and have no proof of the fact that they undertook that journey to the registration process.
Yeah, it is indeed a very difficult situation if you don't receive an SMS and you've not doubled up on the steps to ensure that you are registered, because we would also be careful from individuals who will be claiming they did when they did not actually go to the voting station.
Exactly.
But we shall keep all of these on record for also proof on any other day that we did not miss any individual.
Okay, well, that's the time we have. To be honest with you, I'm not sure if I'm any clearer, but we'll leave it there for now, and hopefully, we won't even get to a situation where there are people who find themselves in what I think you and I will agree would likely to be a very precarious situation. For now, thanks very much indeed. Mawethu Mosery is the IEC's Deputy Chief Electoral Officer, joining us there via our video link.